Today we're going to make more bread. That's right, but it's not going to be the long drawn out type of affair we did back in Mish-Mash number 201. Those of you who have not watched Mish-Mash 201, you might want to watch it, because I'm not going to go through all the little details of how to do this. If you watch Mish-Mash number 201, you'll understand it all. Anyway, boy, I'll tell you, I am really stuffed up with some kind of allergy or something. I don't usually have allergies. I have something got in my sinuses. Anyway, why am I making more bread? Well, this time, last time we made it with all-purpose flour. And I was contacted by one of our good subscribers, Gordon Cole, who lives over in England. And he said, John, have you ever... He said, I made your bread and it was delicious. It was great. It turned out perfect. He said, have you ever made it a whole wheat bread? Have you ever done it using whole wheat flour? I said, no, I haven't. I said, why don't you go ahead and do it and give me a full report? So he did. He made some whole wheat bread. He said it was terrific. Tasted great. The only difference between using whole wheat flour and the all-purpose flour was that you had to wait longer for the bread to rise before you went on to the next step. I said, well, that sounds good to me. So since I'm retiring the day after, well, actually I'm retiring tomorrow. Today's Thursday, the 1st of June. And a friend of mine I work with gave me a going away present. He gave me a buck knife. Let me show you what that, let me get that buck knife. It's just a small pocket buck knife. And here it is. You know, it's interesting that he would give me a buck knife as a going away present, because, or as a retirement gift. When I was up at Hambench and I lost my pocket knife. I've had it for years. I don't know where it went. Probably wound up in the mud somewhere. I've had that thing, I can't remember how many years. And he comes up with this buck knife out of nowhere, and it was almost like he knew I had lost it. And I told him I lost it. He said, well, that's great, I'm glad I picked this up. But there was one thing, these are really good knives, or at least they used to be. And he was very apologetic about it, though. He said, I'm sorry, John, but did you know that buck knives are made in China now? I said, no, I didn't. Now that's really getting low. A buck knife made in China. But I'm glad I have it and I need it. And it still looks pretty good quality, you know. I don't see any problem with it at all. Anyway, let's move on to what we're doing. Anyway, I told him I would make him some bread as a thank you for the buck knife. But he's diabetic. And he can't really, I don't really want to make him white homemade bread. We're going to make some whole wheat. We're going to make 2 loaves, one for me, because I want to give it a try based on Gordon Cole's recommendation, and I want to make the other loaf for Gary, the guy I work with. So let's see what happens here. Remember, Mish-Mash 201, if you stop now and go back and watch that one, you'll understand what we're doing. So I'm going to put all the ingredients in the bowl. Well, everything's in there. She's mixing away, but this flour appears to be a little drier. It's not quite as gooey and, you know, pliable as the all-purpose. But I'm going to make it exactly the same way as I did with the all-purpose. I don't want to make any changes like add additional water or anything like that. Gordon didn't tell me anything about that. He just said the only problem he had was that the rise times, you have to raise this bread twice, or what they call proof it nowadays. P-R-O-O-F. I don't know where that word came from. But anyway, you have to let it rise twice, and you just have to go a little longer, that's all. Well, now we sit and wait and hope for the best. At least a half an hour, maybe longer. Normally it's a half an hour, but I think Gordon said 20 minutes longer. Well, it's been 45 minutes. It's a little after 9 o'clock. Let's see what we got. Ooh, shock, shock, shock. How about that? Boy, I'll tell you what, that's nice and warm too on the sides. Alright, it looks almost like the same level as all-purpose flour, only I had to wait 15 minutes longer. Alright, let's get the next ingredients in. The honey and the cooking oil and the salt. Well, she seems to be doing just about the same as all-purpose flour as far as wadding up at the bottom of the bowl. Add just a little bit more. See if we can't speed it up just a touch. There we go. I'll keep adding until the bottom of the bowl is clean. One more thing, Gordon said that he got away with 3 tablespoons of honey. I still went with 4. I put in the old Fisher's 100% pure raw honey. We'll see what happens. He said it tasted great with 3 for him. I got a sweet tooth. One other thing, after you've dipped your spatula in the oil and it gets nice and shiny on the end like that, you know, make sure you get all the dough off the dough hook as much as you can. Don't waste any of this stuff. This is good stuff. I mean, you worked hard to make this. Try to get as much as you can, okay? Then we'll go ahead and use the old spatula to, I'll take the bowl off and turn it upside down and use the old spatula to dig it out. That's what I'm talking about. Get as much of that dough out of there as you can. You don't want hardly any in there if possible. Alright, now I'm going to roll it around in the oil, cut it in half, and put it in the pans and let it rise. Normally it's an hour. This time we'll let it rise for probably an hour and a half. Well, there we go, kiddies. Side by side. I'll cover them up with a towel now, and then we'll wait and see what happens. I hope this bread turns out good, because I've always liked rye bread and pumpernickel and wheat and cracked wheat and all that weird kind of bread. Let's see what she's looking like. Oh man, it fell. Why did it fall? That doesn't make much sense. So did this one. Well, they were big and puffy. I wonder why they fell. Let me stick them in the oven and see what happens. Well, I'm not happy about this at all. Well, let's get it out of the pans and see what it looks like. And I'm going to put a little butter on it and see what it tastes like. What? Well, it looks better upside down. Let's flip it around the other way. Let's get the old butter on it here. Starting to look better with a little butter on it. You know, I'm really upset about this. The looks of it. I don't know what it's going to taste like. I'll let you know whether it tastes good or not, bad or indifferent. And let me try butter on the other one now. Well, of the 2 loaves, that one looks the best, so that's the one I'll give to Gary. This mangy looking thing I'll use for myself. Let's slice it and taste her. Well, here we go. It may not look so hot. Wifey says it looks terrible, but you know, what it tastes like is what matters. It doesn't look bad. She said it might be a little heavy. It's pretty tender, pretty soft on the inside. You want to try a taste, honey? I'll give some to Wifey. All right, I cut the heel in half. Take which one you want, honey. Give the other one to your mom. Oh, you just walk away, huh? Let me do it. Here you go, Grandma. Stop squawking and making noise. Here, eat this piece of bread. Eat that piece of bread right there. Here you go. Come on now. Well, I don't know what it looks like. Taste it. Let me know what you think. Does it taste heavy or good? Does it taste good?
Yeah.
Well, let me get a piece. Good. Well, Wifey says it's a little heavy. All right. Well, we'll try. It feels awfully light to me. I'll tell you what. It feels floppy. Let me try it. Yep, it is a little heavy. Doesn't taste bad. It tastes pretty good, but it does have a little heavy texture. I'll have to slice it a little thinner. Maybe that'll help. I just did a little research as to why this bread may have fallen like it did, and I found out the reason why. Normally I let white bread, when I cook it, when I make it, I let it, the second rising, or the proofing is what they call it, I let it rise for an hour. But this time I let it rise for an hour and a half. And what happened was I overextended the yeast time. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have raised it for an hour, and that was it. So the next time we make some wheat bread, we're going to do the standard recipe for the wheat that I did for the white. And 1 hour rise time, I just let it rise too long. And that's all it took, and the gas just went right out of it as soon as I touched it. Tell you what, let's move on to something different here. On the way to work today, it's you know, Thursday. The flea market for St. Joseph's Catholic Church in town here opens up on Thursday and Friday and then Saturday. I always like to stop in on Thursday and see what's going on, see if there's anything there that catches my eye. Well, today, a VHS player and DVD player caught my eye. They only wanted $10 for it, and they said it works. So we're gonna find out what. But it has lots of dirt and crap on it, like up here, and a bunch of different stuff. I'm gonna take the cleaner to it. I'm gonna get it all scrubbed up, and then I'll be back when she's a little more shiny. And now this thing did say it works, but of course all that means is, or all it could mean is that you hit the power switch and the power switch light lights up. I don't know how they know if it works or not, unless the person who donated it to the flea market told them so. So let's go ahead and hit the power and see if we get anything. Let me see, I got it plugged in. Well, we got a power on light. Let's go over here and see what we got over here. Oh, yeah, we do have something lit there. What is that? It says, well, it doesn't say anything. It just says has dots there. Well, that's pretty neat. At least we got some indication of something working. Let me get down there. All right, let's go ahead and stick a VHS tape in that thing. By the way, this is a 4-head player. That was one of the things that attracted me besides the $10. This makes like about the 5th of these things I have. I think this is number 5. Doesn't matter. When I see $10 and it says works, I'm going to take a chance on it. So let's see if it'll take the tape on in. I haven't yet removed the top to look inside. We may do that before this video is over. Well, it took it in. Let's see if we got anything else over here that's different. All I hear is noise right now. Let us hit play. See what happens. Well, what we have is VCR operation on this side and DVD on this side. I don't see anything happening. Let's try it again. Works, huh? Well, I don't see anything that works. Let me play around with it a little bit here. Well, it shut down and ejected fine, and I can see that the tape was going around and around because we now have tape on the hub here, which we did not have. It could be that the VHS tape does not display on this thing. Maybe only the DVD does. Well, let's get a DVD out. This is one I picked up there the other day for, I think it was 50 cents, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, starring Gregory Peck and Lana Turner, I think it is. I can't remember. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner and Gregory Peck. Snows of Kilimanjaro. That's an old movie, boy. I love those old movies sometimes. I get in the mood, you know. I have to be in the mood. And now we go ahead and see if this thing will... Ooh, she does. She comes right out. Let's put our little DVD in there. Now we have play. Remember, this is the DVD side, this is the tape side. Let's see what we got over here. Yep, there it is. DVD is playing. Alright, she's a playing. Alright, well, I guess what that means is the tape just has something over here that says cassette in. That light lit up, it did. But I guess it has nothing to do with the display over here, only the DVD. For those of you who follow my videos, you know that I recently returned from Xenia, Ohio, and Hamvention 2017. And while there, I bought this Hammerlin HQ100C in the flea market. Got a really good deal on it. I wanted it primarily because it had the clock, which was an optional item. Many of these old radios, especially the 100 series, you'll not see a clock. It'll just be a blank white piece of paper with a couple of crossed lines. I wanted the clock. The purpose of the clock was you could set it, and the receiver would turn on at half an hour before you got home from work, or 45 minutes, or an hour, whatever you wanted to do, and the set would be all warmed up by the time you got home. That was back in the day, of course, when we had a separate transmitter sitting next to it. This would have been the receiver for ham radio. And or if you just wanted to do shortwave listening, it didn't matter, you could just warm all the tubes up and have it, because tubes need to be heated for quite a while before they finally stabilize out, okay? So that's what that was all about. And of course, I heard a lot of the clocks didn't last very long. But, you know, I don't care. I like the idea of seeing that clock there. It's nice that they say that, you know, it's a rare item, not so much rare, but considering the number of Hammerlin 100s made, it's rare compared to that, relative to that, if that makes sense, okay? So anyway, I thought we'd go ahead and let's open this up and see if there's even any tubes in it. The fella I bought it from said the clock worked and the radio worked. Yeah, or the receiver worked. Well, let's find out if there's even anything inside of it. For all I know, it could be empty. Everything gone. Well, here's the back, and as you can see, the screw's missing here. And this is obviously not an original screw there, so whatever happened to the original is beyond me. I'm going to go ahead and try to get that out of there and see if we can't. And I think there's 2 screws in the front that I have to loosen up also, or get them out of there. Yeah, this thing is not part of it. This is definitely not original stuff. What a mess. You know, I would not. You know, the bolts and screws are not that expensive that you have to go around and put that kind of stuff in your radios. You know, it just makes no sense. Now up here, this is the rod for adjusting the clock. Look at that. Look what they did there. You know, come on, people. It's not that big a deal. You can do better than that. All those who watch my videos, you better do something better than that. Well, the inside of the cabinet doesn't look too bad. Got a little rust up on the top there and some on the sides. Nothing we can't deal with. And this is what the chassis looks like, and I'm happy to report that all of the tubes are there. All of them. Now, whether or not they work, that's another story. I'll have to check them all out. Now, this is the clock adjustment rod. I don't think I've ever seen. I don't know if that's original or not. It's a bunch of those little screw jacks or jack stands or whatever they call them, all screwed together one after another with a nut on the end, and the whole mess was soldered to the adjustment rod on the clock. I don't know if that's original or not, but it's a kind of an interesting idea. I may have to try to come up with something a little different on that. I'm not too crazy about that at all. The first one was soldered right here. I don't know if anybody knows anything about this stuff. Is this original or not? Never know when you look in some of these radios. I've never looked inside of a... Matter of fact, I may have to go on YouTube and look in one. Maybe I can find the internals. I don't think that's original, but that's, like I said, kind of a cool idea. Let's look underneath this. By the way, all these things all seem to work okay. I have no problem at all with that. This is the band spread. Band spread works okay. Everything seems to be working okay. So let's take a look underneath it and see what it looks like. Well, the entire radio is disc caps, ceramic discs, I assume. And there are no old wax capacitors, which is kind of nice. Of course, these disc jobs can be a pain in the butt too. But then we get down here and we find out that the electrolytic can has been replaced with these here. But it has not been done right. Look at those things. Look what they did. They never disconnected the original can. They left everything soldered, and then they just took the new replacement ones and soldered them to the pins of the old electrolytic can. You don't do that, people. No, you do not do that. You make sure that whatever's inside that can is disconnected from these completely. And you gut the can, you snip these terminals off, or you attach all of these things to a terminal strip, run your wires that way, bypassing this can. Do not solder electrolytics directly to the original can terminals without doing anything to the original can. You've got to get rid of those that electrolytic setup inside that can. This was not very smart. That was pretty dumb, actually. The last thing we're going to look at is a little glass container. It's an old zinc-topped canning jar. I just loved it, and it was given to me by one of my coworkers. He's been cleaning out his house, and every time he runs into something old, you know, old electronic item or something like this, he always comes in and says, "You want this? I have no need for it. If you want it, you can have it." And of course, I always say yes, especially stuff like this. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is an old glass piñata. Okay, so let's open it up and see what's inside. Well, there it is, all spread out. A lot of potentiometers, some knobs. It's kind of a curious little item right here. This is a 90 to 550 volt tester, both AC and DC. Kind of neat, huh? Just stick the old probes where you want them and see if they work. That's got a neon light in it. I've never seen one of those before. I've seen lots of testers that look like this, but not one that handles AC, DC, and up to 550 volts. Seems awful fragile for that, but what the heck. My buddy said, "You know, John, this jar with the zinc top's probably going to be worth more than everything that was inside of it." He's probably right. Well, what do you think? Man, this thing doesn't even have a speck of dust in it. Holy mackerel. I can't get over this. Look at that. Perfect condition. Unbelievable. Whoever had this probably didn't play it very much. Or they bought it and just got tired of it. Didn't want to do it anymore. Lost interest. Died. I don't know. That is amazing. Incidentally, for those of you who don't know what a 4-head player is versus a 2, down here on this wheel you'll see, if I can get it around here, see those two little things right there? There's one right there. Let me get a little zoom here. There we go. See that one right there? Right there? That little thing sticking out there, and there's another one right there. There you go. Where the heck is it? There we go. That's the other one right there. You got 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. 4 heads. On a 2-head player, you've only got 1 on each side. Okay? This is where the tape rests against this drum, and these are the heads that pick up the electromagnetism off the tape and convert it down through the electronics into a picture on your TV. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clean those heads very gently. They do get crud on them, and sometimes you get a messed up picture. You clean your heads right there. Just take a little alcohol, a little rag, or a Q-tip or something. Actually, Q-tips don't work very well. Sometimes they'll catch on those heads, and you get little strings sticking out. They mess it up. Use a good rag. Works better with your finger, I've found. And then you just kind of spin your drum back and forth, and after your alcohol's on there, just clean it back and forth like that. Then you can go ahead and clean the entire drum again, get any residue that might be on there. And that's basically all you really have to do to these things, unless they just totally crap out. I think we're going to have a success with this one, to tell you the truth. After I clean it, probably in the next Mish-Mash video, I'll fire this baby up and see if she's going to work. See if we get a picture on the screen. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Until next time, this is John.